After Biden's three-part ceasefire speech, Netanyahu issued an initial statement.
The African National Congress Party lost its parliamentary majority in a historic election result on Saturday, setting South Africa on a new political trajectory.
With nearly 99% of votes counted, the once dominant ANC had garnered just over 40% in the election held on Wednesday.
North Korea launched additional trash-carrying balloons toward the south after a similar campaign earlier in the week.
South Korea's defense ministry did not immediately comment on the number of balloons.
New York City police said on Saturday that they had 34 people in custody following a pro-Palestinian protest at the Brooklyn Museum.
There were reports of damage to some artwork and harassment of security staff by demonstrators.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
All right. I say all right. Looking red. I'm a red man.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Yeah. And red. Look how red.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
And he's red.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for coffee with the dog. You make me laugh.
What is way around an answer? Well, we got sort of it's Monday, isn't it? Feels like Monday in here. Okay. It even smells like a Monday. Smell like Monday. Oh, bubble. I don't know. Monday, what do you expect? Good morning, it's Monday, what do you expect? That's right. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. We are almost halfway through the year. I don't know if that matters to anybody. New month for us. Last time we were here, it was May. Now it's June. It's like fucking magic. Anyway, we don't have Ron Kane here this morning, which is fine. We don't have Stephen Ortiz here this morning, which is fine. Which means we have me and G.D. Fenderson, which is fine. But it is what it is. We don't have the full staff on. Stephen, I believe, is dealing with, I don't know, more tragedy. Not tragedy. Tragedy, but not real tragedy. Not like a bus crash or anything like that, like a bus crash or anything. But I think his wife got sick at his show on Saturday night and was hospitalized, needed surgery. It's like one drama after another. I don't know. But life is what it is, and you got to enjoy the suffering, don't you? You have to, don't you? Today, obviously, by the tone of the title of the show, Convicted. We don't have a guest today, by the way, but obviously by the title, I want to talk a little bit about the nonsense from the right not respecting a unanimous decision by 12 people in the state of New York, which is not, contrary to the hyperbole that is going out there, it is not a all liberal state or all liberal city, and all the people on the jury were not liberals, Biden supporters, any of that kind of stuff. They just continue to do that. It's the Trump way, folks, not to respect outcomes where he doesn't win. Everything is rigged unless he wins. And guess what? 12 uh, of his peers in New York City, where he grew up, found him guilty of all 34 counts. Now, it's not about Stormy Daniels. This is part of the thing that people, oh, it's just paying off a porn star. What damage is that? Where's the victim? That's what Trump wants you to believe. He wants you to believe he never met her, first of all. And if you believe that, you're retarded. Don't believe your own eyes. Don't believe your own ears. Believe what Trump tells you. Always. He wants you to believe he never met her, but it's not about her. Stormy Daniels was not the star witness in the trial. Now, most of the people, I back up a little bit, most of the people who are not respecting the verdict did not listen to any of the evidence presented, did not read any of the transcripts of the trial, did not pay attention whatsoever. They pay attention to Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, or Jesse Waters review a summation of what they want you to think happened, but they didn't even follow any of it. The star witness wasn't even Michael Cohen. The star witness was David Pecker, who testified, who's known Donald Trump forever and was a good friends with Donald Trump, loyal to Donald Trump, that he and Donald Trump had an arrangement to for money, sometimes through Michael Cohen, but sometimes directly to with Donald Trump. David Pecker had an arrangement to catch and kill negative stories about Donald Trump and to amplify and sometimes create negative lies and put them on the front page of the National Enquirer. Now, you might say, well, who reads the National Enquirer? I tell you who reads the National Enquirer. Just about everybody who's ever been to a grocery store when they're checking out has read the National Enquirer, and especially when you put it on the front page. And if it's over and over and over and over again, it's like, dare I say, brainwashing. It's like mind control. You just see the same messages over and over again. So the idea was, and what the case was really about, was Donald Trump manipulating fake news, creating fake news to win an election using money that was from his campaign, not his own money. It wasn't a accounting error or an error on a form. It wasn't any of that. It was conspired and absolutely directed campaign violations and an attempt to steal an election by doing that. So who's the victim? The American electorate and the election process is the victim. I was thinking Saturday night on my way to the gig, I was thinking, where did this adoration for Donald Trump come from? Now, a lot of people over the years bought into the bullshit. Oh, he built a skating rink in New York City that they could never fix. And then he was a self-made millionaire. No. And then he was a self-made billionaire. No, none of that shit was true. The fact is, he got a contract when he first became a celebrity builder in New York City. Pierre Hotel and the skating rink in Central Park were his two big projects. But they were both done basically, and not just basically, by the Gambino crime family. If you know anything about New York construction, most of the big projects in New York City got done by the mob. And Donald Trump was deep in it with all those people. So, yeah, the mob likes to also, paint pictures of what reality is. And sure, they want to make it look like the politicians couldn't get it done without their help. So the Pierre and the skating rink were both that. And then The Apprentice came along. I mean, after years and years of that with the hotels and everything, Trump, and then going bankrupt all the time, but not being bankrupt, skating his way out of it. Along comes The Apprentice, which is a completely scripted TV show. It was only supposed to star Trump for the first year. The thing is, no other billionaires or rich people, famous rich people, wanted anything to do with reality television. So Trump got it for all that time. And a lot of people who should know better about what reality TV is bought into that. Well, when the campaign came along, and listen, he didn't think it was going to go all the way through. He had run this gambit before in 2000, and it was all about attention and trying to boost ratings on The Apprentice. So when he first decided to run, he was still friends with Hillary Clinton, very good friends with Hillary Clinton, and one of the biggest supporters of Hillary Clinton through all of it. That's why he hated Barack Obama so much, because Barack Obama was the first one to actually upset the Hillary apple cart. So basically, there were a lot of white people. Let's face it, a lot of white people who were fans of his and idolized him from the hype before the campaign. Now he's in the campaign, and he makes two promises that resonate with a lot of people. First of all, the build the wall stuff. The people who think that immigration is going to destroy, let's face it, illegal immigration or immigration without proper documentation is going to destroy America. If that were going to happen, because I brought it up again, broken borders. I brought it up in 1997. Did a video on it. If that were going to happen, America would have been destroyed a long time ago. It's been basically since 1492. Europeans, you're Shittins, you're lions, people coming to this land for a change of better life forever. And you know what? A lot of them, Columbus didn't have no papers. Cortez didn't have any papers. You can go on and on. But so the immigration thing resonated with a lot of people. I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to build a wall. Yeah, you're going to build a wall. That was a big promise. Build the wall. But then the second promise he made was the one, and this resonated with me. Lock her up. Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, a lot like Donald Trump, and I'm not talking about Benghazi here, because Benghazi is fucking nonsense. I mean, it was inappropriate. It was an attempt to sway voters in a campaign, all that stuff. It did not rise to the level of crime. What she did, lie in court, and that's in front of Congress, and that's perjury. She perjured herself in front of Congress, but never held accountable. But she was a lifetime criminal, and is a lifetime white collar criminal, very much the same as Donald Trump, who skated on everything, who was never held accountable. Whether you go back to the the double billing or triple billing with Rose law firm, or the Watergate stuff, or the insider trading stuff, or Travelgate, all those things. Hillary was a criminal, and so and not held accountable. Kind of sounds like Donald Trump. And we, as Americans, I think, or as any people, want to see bad people held accountable for things when we get held accountable for them all the time. If it were us, but the rich and powerful just skate. And so when he said, lock her up, everybody on that side was like, yeah, lock her up. And they chanted it every rally. So that's a big part of where that loyalty came from, except for a couple of things here now. He became president And we could talk about, Manafort's role in sharing polling data with the Russians in real time and, exit polls and all that stuff. But he won the election. And then he promised to build a wall. He didn't build a wall. He said he was going to build a wall in 6 months. He promised he was going to lock her up, and that would happen in the first year. Neither of those things happened. What he did instead, he made the priority to give himself a huge tax cut. And he told you, dummies, that tax cut was for you, but it only lasted for you for 1 year. And then your taxes actually went up after that if you were paying attention, but his were in perpetuity. Ooh, listen to that. Jordan Peterson has something to say about it. So he still benefited, and him and his ultra rich buddies still benefited from the tax cut that was the priority, not the wall, not locking her up. Never did lock her up. Okay, so that's where a lot of the loyalty came from. That inciting the crowd, yeah, lock her up, and it didn't happen. But then yesterday on Fox News, he says, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I never said lock her up." And as usual, the stupid people. Yeah, it's the stupid people. If you're, listen, let's face it. I scared the Trump supporters away. None of the Trump supporters were actually in the audience today. I'm talking basically to people who either don't care about Trump or or are completely against Trump here. None of I scared them all away. They're all gone. But in case you forgot about Trump or you believe the fact that he said, "I never said lock her up." Here we go.
I didn't say lock her up, but the people don't say lock her up, lock her up. Okay.
Lock her up, I'll tell you.
Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
Lock them up, yeah. Lock them up.
All right.
Who said that? Lock her up. Stand up, please.
I think that's enough. I think you get the point. Unless you are just inclined to cut your own brain out with a rusty scalpel. He said lock her up. He chanted lock her up. And I agreed with him. That's one of the very few things that I agreed with Donald Trump on, is that she should be held accountable. Listen, most of the laws that she broke, again, Benghazi is just a fucking straw man. And the emails, you're not going to prosecute her over that. And probably all the other crimes that she had committed, the ones we know about, are beyond the statute of limitations. So, you know what? That's why he didn't prosecute her. Also, the fact that he was her main supporter while she was committing those crimes is not a good look for him. But so, you know what? He's going to go on saying now, I never said lock her up. And you're going to fucking, not you, because you're not listening, but your friends who are Trump supporters are going to pick up that line and continue to say it as if it is true. As if it's true. It's not true. None of it's fucking true. He's a fucking liar. I'm sorry. I'm getting worked up. Anyway, as I mentioned, Stephen Ortiz is not here, but Ron Kane did magically appear in the last minute. Now, I'm going to play a commercial, and then I'm going to bring in GD and Ron, and maybe we'll talk about Trump, and maybe we won't. Maybe we'll talk about Hunter Biden going on trial today, or maybe we'll talk about how much the Mets suck. I don't know. We don't have a guest today. But I will say I'm going to play you a commercial right now from Mindboom. I got, just before the show today, I got a cease and desist order to stop playing commercials that I've never played. Yeah, this is bizarre. If I could find it here, I just want to. Shit, somebody came in after that. Now I got to find it. It's not that important. But some pet company sent me a cease and desist order today to stop running their pet therapy product commercials. Now, if you follow this program at all, ever. If you've ever seen me play a pet therapy commercial for any kind of pet therapy product. Refresh my memory, because I know I'm old. Maybe I did once. I don't think I ever did. I really don't think I ever did. I never said pet therapy. Now they're gonna show tapes of me saying pet therapy, pet therapy, pet therapy, like I'm Donald Trump. Anyway, this is Mind Bloom. These people did not send me a cease and desist. Let's check it out.
Mind Bloom is helping people achieve life-changing clinical and personal breakthroughs, alchemizing both the psychedelic medication, psychiatric care from psychiatric clinicians, coaches we call psychedelic guides, and a lot of content and meditations and programs into this really transformational experience that, because it's delivered at home, costs a lot less and is a lot more convenient for people to receive.
Oh, Mind Bloom. I'm feeling so psychedelic. Anyway, Ron stealing my spot as usual. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, America.
Oh, you're so full of energy. Oh, go ahead.
Oh. Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Father's Day is right around the corner. You still have time to get that father figure and gift, or a gift from MindDogTV.com. I figure. We have everything that a father can want except do-overs and ED meds. MindDogTV.com. Enjoy the suffering.
Oh, yes. MindDogTV.com is back online, but right now only the front page is functional because I'm redesigning the site. I've redesigned the front page. I got to plug the store in today after the show, and then hopefully the rest of the stuff, the little stuff that goes along with it. I don't know. Bells and whistles. That's what they are. They're bells and whistles. Anyway, good morning. You guys have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
That's because you're on the road. You're in sunny New Mexico?
No, not yet. Tuesday you leave for. Tomorrow you leave for Albuquerque.
Yep, tomorrow. Tomorrow evening.
Yeah. Oh. So why can't you be at York then if you leave tomorrow evening? What time tomorrow evening?
7 o'clock.
Oh, and so you're gonna that's awful. You can't stick around like another 2 hours to help.
Do I detect a little jealousy, resentment? What do I detect?
No. I'm not detecting that.
It smells Monday.
No. What you're detecting is me just being overrun with Ron's total disrespect for me. No.
In what way?
He could stick around for 2 or 3 more hours to help out, but no, he wants to leave early and leave me dealing with all of those people in the audience.
Now, are you going to be a authoritarian? Or are you going to be a bad cop or a good cop?
No, I'm just as bad as Ron when it comes to I am full-throated believing in the whistle and the light.
Let me see your throat. That's not really full-throated. Ann Coulter has got a full throat. I mean, her neck is like this long. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, she's used it more for her career advancement than I have. So I haven't exercised.
You know what? I don't like her politics, but I got to imagine that she gives like the greatest blowjob ever. I mean, that throat is like made for fucking Johnny Holmes.
Now, I always imagine that Carly Simon gave the best one ever, but okay.
Carly Simon?
Yeah, she's got a great mouth.
Wow. Well, I don't know how to respond to that. I'll have to ask James. No, I think if she really, to be honest, if she really was that good at it, James would still be with her.
No, because James may not like that at all. That may not be his kink.
No, it is. Definitely.
No, that is his kink.
Let me go write a song.
James and I've been hanging out for a while. That is his kink. That's it.
Yeah, no, definitely. He loves that.
He likes to get his whole arm down her throat.
Yeah. Whenever I see your smiling face, I know you've gotten a good blowjob. That's all I know. That's what I know. Anyway, so we have no guests today, and I didn't bother trying to get a guest today. Got a couple of this week authors who, One of the publicists said the author who's scheduled to be here Wednesday. Now we have an author and a comedian scheduled. The author couldn't make it. And I'm like, okay. He said, do you want me to get you another one? I'm like, no, that's not necessary. I can deal with a British comedian, Stuart Dunlop, who's going to be with us in the second hour on Wednesday. I don't need, you know what? This is here for authors, but I don't necessarily feel like we have to have, authors every friggin' day. And if one can't make it, we don't have to replace it. We'll get by without that author for that day. Yeah. Well, I was gonna go. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about that later. But some of the people on the program, remember last week we had the guy Michael. What was Michael's last name? He was Savage Unfiltered. Michael.
Right.
Something.
Right.
Yeah.
Asked me if I wanted to be on his program. And I said, yeah, sure, as long as it doesn't conflict with what I'm doing. I'm on 9 generally to almost 11:30 every day. It's supposed to be 9 to 11. And he said, well, here's my availability. Here's the availability here. It sent me a Calendly link. And there was a booking fee. And I was like, I'm not paying a booking fee to be on your show. First of all, I didn't approach you and ask you to be on your show. You approached me and asked me to be on the show. Now you're sending me a thing where I got to pay. And I was like, I'm not paying a booking fee. And then he came back right and explained himself why the booking fee is there. Like, I don't care. I'm just not paying it. And I talked to somebody about it, and they were like, oh, well, he has a good point, because his point is, booking fee keeps people from being no-shows. And like you deal with no-shows. I was like, yeah, but I wouldn't charge it to somebody I reached out to and asked it. If somebody out of the blue came to me and said, I want to be on your show, that's a good idea. But to go approaching people, hey, you want to be on my show? Yeah, sure, I'll be on your show. Oh, by the way, I got to charge you for it. Like, it's and so people are telling me I'm wrong in just saying, no, I ain't doing that. It's because it's not a lot of money, but it's principle.
I was about to say, how big is the booking fee if it's supposed to discourage people from no-shows?
I think it's like $25.
If I wanted to go on the show, that wouldn't discourage me. I would just kiss the 25 goodbye.
Yeah. And I guess they don't refund it if you show up.
No, it's a booking fee. It's like administrative fee. But besides, you know what? He was on I didn't charge him a booking fee. I mean, it just seemed weird that he reached out to me, asked me to be on the show, and then wants me to charge me.
I know what it is. I know what happened. I know why he's charging you now. See, just before he left, he got tore a new one, and he had to pay to have that sewn up, and it was $25. So he's trying to get that.
He's reposted you guys giving him a hard time. He's reposted that video, like he thinks he won that argument with you guys, because he's posting it like he's proud of it.
Maybe it's a badge of honor to be ripped by quote liberals. But I mean, I wasn't being liberal. Okay.
I think he thinks he won, which is kind of the weird world we live in, where black is white and white is black, and day is night and night is day. It's just everything is upside down. We're in a bizarre world.
Yeah. Well, I liked how he danced around everything. Like, he wouldn't give any like direct answers, and saying that he tore someone a new one while not giving any direct answers or like standing up for what you actually believe in.
Yeah. Oh, well.
That's just my opinion.
So bottom line is, you have access to new message on MindDog 1. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm not doing the show, man. I don't feel like I'm being a dick. It's not about fucking the money, obviously. I don't care about a couple of bucks. I care about the principle of it. Like, you know what? It's like I give you a present, and then you want to sell it back to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely in the right, especially when you're asked. It's like, there shouldn't be a booking fee.
Could be.
Yeah, because you're telling, to me, that's what he's telling you, is that you're a reliable enough person. Please just come on this show.
Yeah, and I also don't like the fact that he said it makes us look more professional. Like, I don't look professional. Come on, dude.
Well, I've been meaning to mention that to you. Yeah, you don't look professional. No, I'm just teasing. Coming from the guy
at
who, yeah, coming from the guy who doesn't have the only guy who doesn't have a microphone. Actually, I tested my mic and it works just fine. I just have to find a different port on my computer because it's that port is
Don't you
broken.
know the Sailor's Creed? Any port in a storm.
Yeah, but that port's broken, so you can hook it up to it, but it's not working. And
Any port. No, you can plug it into the wall. Plug it into that whiteboard behind you. Any port in a storm.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
I
my
have
lighting
heard the
just changed.
adage.
Did you see that? My lighting changed. So Friday night I played at the church gig. I remember I told you about the church gig.
Is this the church that you were banned from 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I posted the crowd. The crowd was one old man. I mean, old man, looking like all he cared about was checking his own diaper every like 5 seconds or something. That was the crowd. I mean, and so Mikey brings this huge concert system. And I said, 20 years ago when we were doing this gig, we did it with 2 little speakers and a 4-channel board, and that worked fine. Did we? Yeah. Oh, but it sounds so much better for this. I agree. It sounds so much better with the concert system. But for who and for what? And does it pay? It's so much extra work. It's so much extra time doing the sound check. You got to get there extra early for like a geriatric crowd. Like when I do the nursing homes, I go that little portable PA there that I carry in one hand, and they don't. I could do it without that. I could really do it. Just yell. I could just yell out. Sing loud with an acoustic guitar. I like. If it doesn't call for that huge system, don't use the huge system. So, it was just weird. I mean, because they moved the festival from August to May 31st, thinking, or the last weekend in May, thinking that would boost audiences, but it basically killed the audience. Nobody was there. Nobody was there, and I felt really bad because all these food vendors were out there and the rides and everything, and it was just like one old man in a diaper. So,
did you get on any rides?
No, I didn't go on any roads.
Did the old man get on any rides?
No, the old man, I think he died halfway through the first set there. I think he dropped dead. No, let's see if I can find a picture here.
There we go. There's an old man for you. And he just got married too. 93 years old.
She said I do to his bank account.
And she didn't know he was rich.
Oh, right. Yeah.
No,
and she's younger too. She's like 67.
Wow.
So she'll have time to spend his money.
You know what? If you could put that back up again, because 67, she's fucking hot for 67, don't you think?
Where'd it go? There it is.
Okay. Let me see. It won't take a heck, will it? I don't know why my phone does heck. Yeah, she's kind of hot for 67, I think. I mean, think about it. She's 3 years older than me. I think
you could be that hot if you tried.
Yeah, you know what? Money does a lot for looks, though. You can definitely.
And he's got plenty of it.
Yeah. Well, does he? I know. Well, yes, but after like almost $1 billion in lawsuits, I guess personally.
Yeah, but that's not his. Yeah, those lawsuits aren't affecting him personally, right? That's all coming out of Fox News' wallet.
Yeah.
How do we find out exactly what his total net worth is?
Just Google it here.
Ask her attorney. Ask her attorney. I'm sure her attorney knows.
All right. I'm gonna add that picture now from the old man and see what we get here.
19.9 billion is his net worth.
19.9 billion. He's no Elon Musk. He's just a baby. What happened? I don't know where anything is. I suck at this.
Now, do you guys remember there was a company called Movie Pass?
Movie Pass?
There was a movie just released, or not just released. I just saw it on HBO called Movie Pass Movie Crash, about the company Movie Pass and how it was started, and the two guys that started it got fired from the board, and they, as part of their severance package, they were given stock options, and their stock options were worth $80 million. But because of FTC rules, they had to wait a year before they could cash out. And
Wow.
meanwhile,
I never heard of the company, but
Oh.
that's just me because I'm an old dick. What are you gonna say? I'm sorry. I
So-
didn't mean to interrupt.
So for a year, they're worth that much money, but they can't touch it, and they can't direct the company. They've been removed from the board, and the company went bankrupt in less than a year. And so they went from being worth $80 million to being worth, they said, literally pennies.
Now somebody literally worth pennies wouldn't even be able to get the message out that they were.
No, they did the movie. Yeah, they were sought out to be interviewed. I mean, they did found a company, and both of them are doing. I mean, they landed on their feet, kind of. I mean, one of them has bought, or bought MoviePass from bankruptcy, and apparently they're turning a profit for the first time ever. And it's the guy. This is the guy who started it, but he needed capital, and that's how he got pushed out because the people who gave him the capital.
How much are you worth?
Me?
Oh, yeah.
Dollars, many dollars.
Let me take us out of here for a second. I don't know. I just want. Yeah. Let me see this. That was the crowd. That was my crowd. Why is he in? It's in the background instead of the overlays. That's why. But yeah, that's him. That's my crowd.
Now, was that like the only shady spot, and that's why he sat there? And also, in the beginning, last week when you talked about this show, you said you anticipated being one old man and his nurse. So where's his nurse?
I have the picture. The nurse did show up. I have another picture of the nurse showing up. But I don't know why he sat there. I guess he was afraid of it being too loud in the front row. But yeah, his nurse did show up.
That's just like when you do a comedy show and only like one or two people show up. It's like, I guess we're doing this.
But when you do a comedy show, first of all, I would think that one person that showed up would be about a quarter of his age. He had to be 90. So maybe they'd be like in their 30s or something. That one person sitting there, maybe 50. Who knows? But not like that. Not in a dirty diaper.
Maybe he was supposed to go to. Maybe he was supposed to be at Rupert Murdoch's wedding, and he came to the wrong place.
And the other part of it is you probably when you do the comedy show, you didn't bring a sound system that was meant for Madison Square Garden.
No.
For that guy. For that guy. Like he would not have noticed if we didn't even have a sound system.
Did he ask you to turn it down?
No, he couldn't talk. I don't. No, he didn't say a word. It's just weird. So anyway, that's where the festival is heading. Now Saturday night we had a restaurant gig, and this time of year on Long Island, Saturday nights, if it's nice out, restaurant gigs are gonna not be all that well attended, and this one wasn't. It was about half the room, but it was the best the band had ever sound. It was the most musical we've ever sounded. And let me back up. On on Friday night, Scott, the bass player, became a member of the band. Like they say, this was the day he became a made man. He got
how long has he been with the band now? Before he became
7 years.
Okay, so he did better than the black guy from Rolling Stones. Okay.
Yeah, the black guy, Shiloh Deal. Yeah, no, Shiloh Deal's a Long Islander too, and yeah. So
he's been with the Stones he's been playing with them for 2,700 years, and he's still the black guy who plays bass.
Well,
for the
Scott's
summer.
still not on the website. He said, "Can I get on the website now?" But so we started one song, and the drummer counted off, and it was really fast. It probably the actual record speed, but we don't do. We're not a cover band. We're not doing copies or covers of songs that people could. If they wanted to listen to the record, they could sit home and listen to the record. We're doing unique takes on songs that people might like. So the guy, he counts it off. He's a sub drummer, and he counts it off, and it's really fast. And at the end of the song, Scott says, "Wow, that was kind of fast." And he looks at me like it was my fault. I said, "Don't blame me. He counted it off." And then I walked away to get a beer, and the drummer went and got his phone and pulled up the original recording and stuck it in Scott's face and said, "See, listen to the tempo. I do it exactly at the record tempo." And Scott got into it with them and said, basically, that's not us. That's not what we do. And you're not part of the band. Your job is to support the band and what we do.
How long was he the bass player? I mean, how long was he in the band before he said that?
7 years. 7 years.
I mean, but before he became a made man, how long was he a made man before he said that? You're not part of the band.
Oh, no, that's what made him a made man.
Oh, okay.
That getting in the drummer's face, and now I blew it up. I told everybody that he beat the shit out of the drummer. He kicked his ass and beat him up. But for Scott, that is the same as kind of beating him up. It's pretty much congruent. So it was a bad night from there. And then he was giving us problems about the time of the show because it went to 9:45 instead of 9:30. But we did a set that was an hour long. It was an hour, and then there was one more song left. He refused to play the last song and stood in protest with not playing on the last song of the set because it was over an hour. I only play an hour, and I got to stand up for my back, man. Like doing a reverse Colin Kaepernick. Like instead of taking a knee, standing in protest. And like at that point, we were all not happy with him. It's just like, and then he was giving us a problem like, 15 minutes extra. My world is gonna. You know what? You'll never work with us again. That's the way it is. But so the next night we were really good, and our regular drummer was with us, and I was kind of high, and I made the comment that I've never been happier in my life. We really sounded musical. I mean, better than we've ever sounded. Vocally, all the instruments were tight as could be, and we weren't loud because the room wasn't like all packed. So it was a really fun gig. So I came home. I was like,
were you high from like edibles, or you were high just from the endorphins and just the love of the music and the performance?
Smoked right out in front of the place right before we started playing. Smoked a good. You listen, it's the Papoosetuck weed, and I kept saying I want to move to the Papoosetuck reservation. I want to officially become Papoosetuck. I want to declare myself a Papoose, a Tuck, and then and talk in terms of my people, people. Yeah, Papoosetuck. Now that's the tribe, that the reservation, the Papoosetuck.
Yes. So you try to get a tuck job? Is that what I'm hearing?
I have to have my Papoose tucked. Yes.
That's painful if you don't have the right tape, because when you go to take it off, that shit yanks. Yeah.
Now I'm going to say something that will expose me for being a full dementia case here. Remember, I told you I went to the Papoosetuck, bought weed, and then 6 days later I went back.
The building was gone.
And the building was gone and almost reconstructed in 6 days. I went back yesterday, and it was fully there. I will pull right up into like it didn't look any different than the last time I was there. And I said to the woman at the counter, I said, "Did this place get torn down and rebuilt?" She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "Well, I was here a week ago, and this place wasn't here. They had knocked it down. There was a frame of a building and a sign that said, go over there. It will be reopening in a couple of days." And I went in and I said, "Is that the native land shop across the street that got," because I was confused. She said, "Yes." And then she said, "I don't know what they're talking about. Nothing happened here." I said, I went up and down this fucking reservation the entire. I did not find the building here, and I went there, right across the street there. That building, I recognize that one. That's where I was last week. She told me I was right, and this woman was denying it. And so I left there thinking, either that weed is really good, or it's time for me to just lay down and die. I mean, I don't know what to make of this. It's like a fucking Twilight Zone thing where I swear the building was torn down and a new one was erected. No, you don't know what you're talking about. And it doesn't look like the building was ever torn down or re-erected now. It looks like the same building. So I am in a real state of confusion here. I don't know. I don't know who I am anymore. Doesn't bode for me trying to influence people about Donald Trump or anything, right? Because I think he's got more wherewithal about I never said lock her up. Then maybe he's right. And maybe buildings can get, if I can see buildings get torn down and rebuilt, you can't trust what my sense of reality is. Yeah.
Now I have a related question. Have either of you ever tried dark chocolate hummus dessert topping?
No, that doesn't sound great.
It's better than you think. It's good.
Well,
that's right. I forgot. Yeah, Ron, you like dark chocolate. This is good. It tastes like pudding.
Yeah, but on hummus?
No, it's made with chickpeas and dark chocolate and.
No, but what was it topping? What did you top with it? I mean,
we put it on frozen yogurt.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. I would have an orgasm on that. I am like a dark chocolate addict. I can't, it's like, forget about it. I can't eat just one. If somebody gets dark chocolate, my wife sometimes bring me like a stack of the big Hershey dark chocolate bars, like stacks of them, and the big ones, thinking I might eat just one piece of chocolate, and I'll eat like the entire stack because I just can't stop with dark chocolate.
Last night we had company over, and around 8:30 they had to make a decision: were we going to go out for edibles, or were they going to make the long drive back home? Because if we went out for edibles, then they probably going to wind up staying the night, and they had to decide if they were going to stay the night or with edibles or go home, and they decided to go home at the last minute. And the decision was actually made by my wife, because my wife says, well, I have to get up in the morning. They said, well, you're not going to be able to work tomorrow morning if you take these edibles. So
work? What work is this you speak of?
Well, my wife is a muckety muck for the government.
Oh, I thought you were not going to be able to work. I was like, you work?
I do work. Yes, I work very hard. I did a bunch of yard work. I smoothed out the gravel. We had a bunch of stone. We had a driveway, a truck with stone, drop off all the stone, and then I had to smooth it out.
I know.
Because my wife has a Prius, and the Prius has this much clearance. And she's the only one of us. There's like 19 cars in on our driveway, and she's the only one with a Prius. Everybody else has some kind of crossover SUV, and so we have the clearance. So I raked 250 feet of stone back and forth, smoothing it out so that my wife could get in and out of the driveway without scraping.
All right. Well, let me just say, you're a loser. Real men, people like me and Ron, we make our wives do all the work. That's real men.
Ron can't say it because his wife is not.
No, Ron can't say it. That's why I said it. I know.
Ron
it's not true in Ron's case, but
Ron is fixing.
I needed somebody to be on my team, and Ron was the only other player available, so I picked him. Now, real men make their wives do all the work.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
My yard's looking pretty good, by the way. My yard is looking really good, and I have done nothing. I haven't lifted a finger. And
my yard is close to looking pretty damn good. I have to relocate like 11 yuccas, so that I could. The people who used to have this house a few years ago, many years ago, before we got it, they had a greenhouse. But they also had a pile of best I can I'm reconstructing this from the evidence, from the archaeological record. They placed a tarp down in the yard, and that's where they piled their compost. Well, over time, it got ignored, and their compost spread out, and now the tarp is underneath of all this dirt and grass, and all these plants have grown in there, and it's got like this little hump from where the hummus from when the compost had its pile. And so I've been smoothing that out, and now I have like 11 yuccas. I had a tree in there and a post with electric. That's all gone, but the yuccas are still there. And every time I clean it out, more weeds try to grow in. So, and it's too much of a hump for me to take my mower in there. I have to relocate the yuccas, and the yuccas are going to be relocated because I have a tree that does not understand the concept of keeping roots in the ground. The roots keep coming up and attacking my tractor mower. So I'm going to put a ring around it, put the yuccas in there. And that way I don't have to worry about those roots attacking my tractor mower anymore.
Yucca. Now, the audience just wrote to me, every person listening right now, even the people driving their cars, and they said, we don't fucking care about these fucking trees. Ask them about the edibles. And that's what the audience
The yuccas are not edible. The yuccas are edible.
No, not the yuccas. You said we had to make a choice whether we were going to go out to edibles, and they wanted everybody listening right now, right?
We didn't do the edibles. We did not do the edibles.
But they want to know in Maryland. Do you go to a store or do you got to go to a guy?
No, store. It's legal.
It's legal?
Yeah.
I need some help with this, and so does the audience. By the way,
it's legal.
They're all telling me the thing. What kind of are they gummies? You buy gummies, and are they like 10 milligrams?
There's multiple.
So much here.
There's multiple variations, but for example, I think a container is capped at, let's say, 100 milligrams. I think so. If you get a container with gummies in it, let's say there's 10 gummies in it, then each gummy is going to have 10 milligrams in it. If you got 5 gummies in it, then each gummy is going to have like 20 milligrams. But the thing is, whatever it is, the container is capped at like 100 milligrams.
I think it's probably the same one that I like. They come in like wild cherry and all these different. But I'm not sure if you're right about each one is 10 milligrams because some it's 100 milligrams, but you never know if you're going to get 10, 15 or whatever. They're like little bitty gummies. And so one could be like 5 and the next one 15, I think.
I was under the impression that in Maryland it's regulated, unlike DC. Like in DC, it's not regulated. So you could get like a chocolate bar and you can get fucked up real big, real quick, real easy, and make your wife sick and she'll throw up.
My first experience with edibles, a guy named Big T, he's a comedian, also a little kind of a weed guy. He has THC TV. I told him edibles don't work on me. And you're going to get a care package. And I was like, yeah, I've done edibles. They don't work on me. And he sent me a bunch of 10 milligram gummies and 1 chocolate bar. And the chocolate bar said 175 milligrams on it. And so I was doing the 10 milligram gummies, and I was like, these kind of work. I kind of like them. And then I ran out of them, and all I had was a chocolate bar, and it said 175 milligrams. I mean, that's impossible. It's not that much bigger than these gummies. It's got to be like probably a different measurement system or amount of THC or whatever. And so I ate the whole chocolate bar. And like a half hour later, my wife was laying in bed, and I went in and I said, I think this shirt is giving me superpowers. What do you need? I said, I feel like I can do things I could never do before. I might be able to fly, but I could work out. I'm like feeling limber and stuff. Like I feel young. I feel like I could exercise. He said, what's wrong with you? And I didn't put it together until days later when I was still high. That the reason I'm feeling like this is that I ate 170 milligrams at once. So that was my first real forte into the edible world. So yeah, I love the chocolate stuff. If I could find out where to get those chocolate bars, that I would eat 175 milligrams every day.
Now we had the chocolate bar that I had received, I was given in lieu of payment for a comedy gig I did. It was like one of those things that it was somebody had reached out to me and they wanted me to do a gig, and somebody had canceled, and they asked me if I would feature for them. I said sure, and so I showed up and I did the feature gig, and they said, I can't pay you. I said, I didn't do it for the money. I did it because it's a favor to you. You asked me, you were in a bind, so I was getting, so he gives me this candy bar, and I bring the candy bar home, and I cut it up into sections, and I give like a quarter of a piece, a quarter of a quarter of a piece. I mean, like a small section to my wife. And I said, just give it time. I said, don't, and she's like, after half an hour, she goes, I don't feel anything. I said, you will. And because I took the same thing. And after it took like 45 minutes to kick in, to start kicking in. My wife, after half an hour, goes, I'm taking another one. And she'd already been drinking, her choice, her medication, vodka. And so she took another piece of the gummy, the chocolate bar. And then she was like throwing up. If she had an orifice, there was stuff coming out of it. There was stuff coming orifices that I didn't even know she had. She was just expelling stuff. It was awful. Funny, but awful, because I warned her. I told her, don't do it. And she goes, well, you didn't stop me. I said, you're a grown woman. I'm not going to stop you from doing anything. I can only just suggest that you not do it. No.
I think I would stop my wife from doing certain things. There are things. No.
Nope. I'm not going to stop my wife from doing anything.
Well, that's a terrible attitude to have.
I will strongly suggest. I will strongly suggest. But
if my wife wanted to go to see your show, I would stop her. I would not suggest don't go to see him. I would.
I agree. I wouldn't if I were you, I wouldn't let your wife come see my show either. But if my wife were wanting to try to drink and drive, I would stop her.
You insulted my wife. I think we're gonna have derringers at 10 paces.
I don't think I insulted your wife. I thought I agreed with you, unless you were insulting
agreed with
your
me,
wife.
But you insulted your wife.
My wife?
My wife.
No,
yes,
I don't think so. I said if I would
insulted everybody's wife. You're a wife insulter.
Okay. Well, yes, I am. But that's just
wife insulted T-shirts.
That's just my presence that insult. But that's just my presence is generally insulting to people in general, not just wives.
All right. You want to get back to comedy? Anything, Ron?
I thought that was comedy.
Shows?
Yeah, I had my Fratelli show on Friday, and we packed it out. We were very busy. Here is that's a picture from the show. Oops,
yeah, did you charge a booking fee?
Wait a minute. Was it like a costume party? What was that woman wearing like a multicolored?
No, that was her. That's her outfit. She's one of the comics. This lady,
Aaron Bullitt was there. I did not know Aaron Bullitt went all the way from Kentucky to Fratelli's.
This lady, it was her birthday, and she wanted a picture with the comics.
Wow.
Because she was sitting at this birthday table. But yeah, the place was packed out and turned into a very good night for us. And yeah, I couldn't be happy.
See, now that woman's husband should have not let her go out like that. I'm sorry. He shouldn't just suggest that you don't wear that, I don't know, Halloween costume or whatever it was. He should stop her from doing that. But GD would just suggest. I would suggest that you're a grown woman. I would suggest you don't do that. No, you wrestle her to the ground and you say you're not leaving the house in that thing.
Ron, did you charge a booking fee for those comics?
No booking fee. I paid them.
What? That's terrible. That is a terrible business model. You're going to lose money like that.
Yeah, I know. It's insane paying your comics. I know.
Yeah, you need to charge a booking fee.
Well, let me ask you this, because we do a lot of restaurant gigs, and I'm sure it's not the same, but they feed the band. I mean, very well. I mean, we get to order anything off the menu, and then, drinks are free all night. When comedians play restaurants, do they get that treatment?
Sometimes I don't have anything like that set up at this place. I probably should, because I don't think they're going to pay. They don't want to pay me any more money, because it is a small place to begin with.
Right.
It's not a very big show, but I don't know. I think we
Well,
have
I
like
was thinking about this the other night because we do get paid pretty well at this one place, but I don't think, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't think it costs them anything to feed the band. I think what that is. They buy everything in bulk. If
scraps, scraps from other tables.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. The food is good and it's the real deal. But they buy so much of it that 4 plates and drinks and stuff doesn't really cost them anything. It doesn't really even eat into their profit margin at all. They don't even notice.
Do they put ice in your drinks? Because I think that's where the profit margin is eaten up, is the ice in the drinks. Because the soda is just syrup and carbonation in a tank, but
some
machines are
places only give you a first drink free, but the restaurants basically, all night long. And it's not like we're not like alcoholics, like when we were young. Like, free band drink free. We're gonna drink. We're gonna drink as hard as we possibly can. I have 1 or 2, but
the drinks is the toughest thing, because some places are worried about the liability and things like that. They won't give you a drink for that reason.
I don't know if comedians are the same as musicians, but young musicians will take advantage of free drinks, and think, well, this is an excuse to get completely fucking bombed, and never, just because they're free, man, free, and let it flow. I'm gonna play news just to get it over with. I'd probably end up bombing the news guy pretty quick, but I have to do it because I'm still pitching the WRIV out here. So.
Stop playing with Ron's pussy.
New York City police said on Saturday that they had 34 people in custody following a pro-Palestinian protest at the Brooklyn Museum.
There were reports of damage to some artwork and harassment of security staff by demonstrators. Hundreds of protesters marched to the museum on Friday afternoon, set up tents in the lobby, and unfurled a Free Palestine banner from the building's roof before police intervened and made arrests. Jessica Oakley reporting.
North Korea launched additional trash-carrying balloons toward the south after a similar campaign earlier in the week.
South Korea's defense ministry did not immediately comment on the number of balloons or how many landed in South Korea. South Korea's Yonhap news agency, citing anonymous military sources, reported that officials had found about 90 balloons as of Saturday night, which dropped paper, plastic trash, and cigarette butts. Liam White reporting.
The African National Congress Party lost its parliamentary majority in a historic election result on Saturday, setting South Africa on a new political trajectory.
With nearly 99% of votes counted, the once dominant ANC had garnered just over 40% in the election held on Wednesday, falling well short of the majority it had maintained since the famed all-race vote of 1994 that ended apartheid and brought it to power under Nelson Mandela. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted on Saturday that there would be no permanent ceasefire in Gaza unless Hamas's military and governing capabilities were neutralized.
After Biden's 3-part ceasefire speech, Netanyahu issued an initial statement that did not reference Biden's speech, stating, "The Israeli government is united in the desire to return our hostages as soon as possible and is working to achieve this goal." Opposition leader Yair Lapid endorsed Biden's call for a Gaza truce. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
All right, get to something good, because I'm not impressed with the news so far. Except trash carrying balloons. I'm thinking of doing that to my neighbors.
The stock price of former President Donald Trump's social media platform, Truth Social, experienced turbulent swings in the aftermath of his conviction.
In the immediate aftermath of the verdict, the stock price of Truth Social plummeted roughly 15% to a price of about $47. The stock recovered in after-hours trading, however, rallying above its pre-verdict level to about $1.52. Jim Kender reporting.
Police officials in Lakeland, Florida, are reviewing an incident in which officers punched and tased a black teenager after he allegedly trespassed at an apartment complex pool.
The officer claims in the report that after making physical contact with the teen to bring him into custody, the teen struck the officer in the face with a closed fist. In cell phone video of the incident, 2 officers can be seen punching, pulling the hair and tasing the teen before he submits to being handcuffed. Paul Gomez reporting.
The National Transportation Safety Board stated that an inactive but still pressurized gas line was cut 6 minutes before a devastating explosion rocked downtown Youngstown, Ohio.
The blast occurred near Central Square last Tuesday afternoon and impacted a building that contains a Chase Bank and apartments. 1 person was killed and 7 others were injured in the explosion, officials said. The explosion occurred approximately 6 minutes after workers made 2 initial cuts into piping along the basement wall, Chapman said. Kevin Sanders reporting.
An Idaho jury sentenced Chad Daybell, the man convicted this week for the 2019 murders of his first wife and second wife's 2 children, to death.
55-year-old Daybell was charged with murder and conspiracy in the deaths of the 2 children, 7-year-old Joshua J.J. Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, as well as his former wife of nearly 30 years, Tamara Tammy Daybell, 49, with whom he had 5 children. She died in their home on October 19, 2019, with the cause of death determined to be asphyxiation, according to investigators. Lawrence Keller reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Trash balloons. North Korea is sending trash balloons to South Korea. Now, it sounds like something Rand Paul's neighbor would do, but I'm considering it's not a bad idea. Like, if you really want to fuck with somebody, but for a government to do it to another country, whether you think they should be part of your country or not, it just seemed like it seemed like a high school or a somebody who's 65 years old and still thinks they're in high school kind of prank, rather than something like a government would do with like an act of war. I'm gonna send you, tampons and rotten fruit in a hefty bag over your house. I don't know. Any reaction to that? North Korea using?
Yeah,
trash?
I think South Korea should get some catapults and some trash bags and fill them with things like used tampons and stuff like that, and just shoot them back over using catapults.
That's not a bad idea. Catapulting your trash right back at you, because at least it will have some velocity. Then I'm thinking with the balloons, it's just going to kind of, settle in a field somewhere, if they even have fields.
Yeah, that country just sucks so bad that they got to send trash balloons for attention.
Rotten egg balloons. Yeah, it's like, and Kim Jong-un actually went on who's the president of South Korea? Don't ask me. He went on the president's front porch and lit a bag of shit on fire, rang the bell, and ran away.
The South Korean president is Yum Yum Gimme Some.
No, it's poo on foot.
Yong Suk.
Poo on foot.
It is Yong Suk. I think it's pronounced Yong Suk.
No, Yum Yum Gimme Some. You're doing the Korean pronunciation. You're doing the English pronunciation.
Yoon suck me. Yoon suck y'all. Yoon suck y'all. Yoon suck mine y'all. That's you know what? Hunter Biden's going to prison today. Not to prison, on trial today.
It's just his trial today.
Yeah.
Another rigged trial. Another rigged trial.
Now, if he is acquitted, of course they're going to say, you know what? They didn't complain about the courts being rigged when Kyle Rittenhouse walked. They don't, whenever things go their way, it's never rigged. It's only rigged when it goes the other way. But so if Hunter Biden gets off, you're going to hear the same shit. Oh, it's just rigged. So I'm hoping he gets convicted. They should, right? I don't know.
I don't know that anybody else would have. I think this trial is for the gun charges.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my understanding.
Basically, it's about him being an addict and lying on his gun application because,
right.
Yeah.
Because that's what addicts do. Addicts lie. So that's So that's the first thing. Second thing is, and my understanding is that the gun was never used and never loaded. So I don't think he's going to, even if he's found guilty, I don't think he should get anything more than probation.
Well, Trey Gowdy, who is a very right-wing a prosecutor, basically said that this charge would not have been brought usually. I mean, these cases happen all the time and they're never charged. But the fact that he was charged, he should be found guilty because he did it. He probably shouldn't have been charged, but he was charged and he's guilty of it. So if you're charged and you are guilty of the crime, you should be found guilty. That's all.
Right. Yeah. I agree. He did it. So yeah, find him guilty. But because I think it's under the circumstances, probation.
I didn't know that Kurt Gowdy was still doing stuff out there.
Kurt Gowdy. Yeah, Kurt Gowdy. Wide world of crime. The wide world of what was Kurt Gowdy? It wasn't right?
Yeah,
Man,
he died.
You're old. You old bastard, Ron. Because that, you know what? I thought he retired in the 70s or 80s. Wait, when did he die?
1918.
2006.
Died in 2006. So he probably retired 20 years before that, right? You would think. Oh, he was born in 1919. So that would make him 125, right? 105.
Yeah, the only reason I know him is because, like, back in the day, I don't know, I had like some baseball video game, and he was like one of the announcers.
Oh yeah, he did Game of the Week, right? Back on NBC when they. But there, you're old.
He was on the video game that I had, the baseball game. It's like, I'm Kurt Gowdy. He was old then.
And he had a son who was big for a while. He was supposed to be a prospect. I don't know. Nothing ever became of him in baseball, though. No, he wasn't like. He's not a Hall of Famer by any means, but yeah, wide world of sports there. But no, Trey Gowdy. You know what? It's unusual that you will even hear anybody on Fox like tell the truth about something like that. That this case would not have been brought to. Should not have been filed in most cases because it's Hunter Biden, and I think I'm surprised that Fox let him say that on the air because the way they are, they didn't even challenge Trump when he said, "I never said lock her up." Like, what?
They don't challenge him. Like when they were saying that accusing the judge and the attorneys of malfeasance and being bought off, the trial was rigged. It's like, no, a jury found you guilty, and a jury that your attorney helped pick.
Right.
His attorney helped pick the jury.
Like I said, contrary to all notions out there, New York is not liberal. There are a lot of liberals in New York City. There are a lot of conservatives in New York City. It's not cut and dry. I mean, you could probably say there are more liberals in New York City than conservatives. I think that might be fair, but the state certainly is not that way. Where I live, it's Trump flag, even on the reservation yesterday, going on the and I seen Trump flags all over these houses and stuff. So it's not that. And the other part of it is they keep insisting that this was a Biden DOJ thing. Right. Biden passed on it. Biden refused to prosecute it. You know who prosecuted it? Donald Trump's DOJ. They prosecuted Michael Cohen for the exact same 34 charges and found him guilty. Thought it was worth charging Michael Cohen for these crimes. And Trump was a unindicted co-conspirator at that time because he was president, and you can't charge a sitting president.
You can. They won't.
You really can't. You have to impeach him. That's why impeachment was.
No, you can. It's not a law. It's just a suggestion by the DOJ. That's why they're having a Supreme Court thing now to try to make that decision whether or not a president has immunity. But no, you can charge them.
Immunity, but you can't be charged with in office. You have to impeach him.
Nixon was going to be charged. That's why he resigned.
They were going to impeach him. He resigned because they were going to impeach him first so they could charge him. You can't be charged while sitting in office. You have to be impeached first and then charged.
I think we can agree to disagree.
No, you can disagree all you want. That's a fact. There's no. There's no.
If that were a fact, then it wouldn't be a DOJ policy. It said this thing's a DOJ policy to not prosecute a sitting president. If it were a law, it wouldn't have to be a policy.
No, that's not. That's not. They can have all the policies they want. The Constitution
But they wouldn't need the
makes room
policy.
for that. What impeachment? What is impeachment for?
To raise funds.
To remove a president.
It's to raise funds.
So that they can charge him with crimes, high crimes and misdemeanors.
It just doesn't mean they're going to charge him. It just means they get him out of office. That's what impeachment
is. They can't. The reason they have to get him out of office is so that they could charge him. You can't charge a sitting president. It's part of U.S. constitutional law. That's what impeachment does. It allows you to take a criminal who is sitting in office, take him out of office so you can charge him. Plain and simple. So, and that's what Nixon was mostly afraid of. And that's why, what's his name, pardoned him after he resigned. You didn't need a pardon while he was still sitting president. He can't be charged with that. Can't be charged with a crime while you're a sitting president, which is what impeachment is for. So anyway, I don't know how we got on that, but
rotten egg balloons. We're talking about rotten egg balloons. That's how we got on that subject.
Trash balloons, rotten egg balloons, the whole thing. Smoked deer size. That's an old comment. Deer size joint. Anyway, it sounds like you. I don't know. It sounds like you don't think. Or don't want Hunter Biden found guilty, or I do. I think it's important for Hunter Biden to find.
No, I agree. If he did it, and that's how the system works out.
I'm not even fucking caring. Yeah, if he did it, he should be. But that's not the reason I want him found guilty. I want him found guilty so I don't have to listen to these assholes saying, "Oh, look, it's the courts are biased. All the courts are no good. Because he's a Democrat, he got off." I don't want to hear that.
It wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter what the results are going to be. They're going to bitch about something.
Yeah,
he has to be a sacrificial lamb, no matter what. In my view, you fucking find him guilty. I'll go there and find him guilty without even listening to evidence. Fucking guilty, just so I don't have to fucking listen to these assholes. That's why I want to see him, and I don't want to see him get probation, because those same people are they're saying Trump should get probation, and it sounds like Merchan or whatever his Judge Merchan, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Merchan. Yeah,
he's definitely leaning towards that, according to all these statements I heard read back by what the fuck is that guy's name? The prosecutor who was on Brian Tyler Cohen's show every day. But Merchant tipped his hand. He said, "I don't want to send him to jail unless I have to."
But that wasn't during that was because of the 10
the gag order stuff.
Yeah, the gag order, violating the gag orders. That was right.
But to say I don't want to send, he said the entire thing was he was a former president. He might be president again. I don't want to send him to jail unless I have to. I think that's tipping his hat. That he probably, if there's any way he could do with a probation on this, he's probably going to do that. A first-time offender, and they're making all the cases for that already.
But the problem that they have with that is that Michael Cohen was a first-time offender. Michael Cohen cooperated, and he still got sentenced to 3 years and served 13 months. And part of that was in solitary. So I think
the rationale that Merchan or whatever however you fucking pronounce his name, he said he included that this man was a former president. He might be president.
Yeah, but that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter,
but
because he's
it's
a
in
citizen.
his thinking. You're right. It shouldn't matter, but he's clearly thinking along those lines. He said that, so that means that Michael Cohen. That's the difference between him, Mike, and Cohen in the judge's mind, is that Cohen was not former president and not going to be president anytime soon.
If that is taken into consideration by Juan, and I'm gonna start calling him Juan now because he and I go way back.
You could call him Here Come.
Okay, so here come the judge. If he considers that what he used to be as opposed to what he is, there's something wrong with that. There's something definitely wrong with that, because
No,
he's
you're
got
right.
he's
The whole
distinct.
thing stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'd be using
but
a two-tier justice system. He'd be implementing a two-tier justice system.
we've already had that, even in this case, because
Yeah, that's
Trump,
true. That's true.
he was supposed to go for a probationary hearing the day of the sentence, like most people do. He didn't have to
Right.
do that. He just skipped out on that. If you and I did that, we'd be locked up.
Yeah.
There's a two-tier system already in place here, so there's no question about that. And we wouldn't be able to just leave the state. He just flew back to Florida. He's in Florida now. If you're convicted in New York State, they don't let while you're awaiting sentence. No, you don't go leaving the state, and everybody knows where his whereabouts are, but you're not allowed to do that. You sit, either you're going to pay bond to stay in New York, or you're going to be remanded to Rikers. That if you're convicted, most people. So this whole idea of two-tier system, it doesn't even bother saying two-tier system now, because it's definitely in place. So
yeah.
Now, Trump came out yesterday asking the Supreme Court to intervene and overturn this case before it even goes through the appellate courts.
Right.
And what is his name? Glenn. I can't.
And don't you don't you be blaming me. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, no, not you. The other Glenn.
Okay.
The one who's on the prosecutor who's on Brian Tyler Cohen's show every day. He said, he asked this question: can the Supreme Court? He said, we've seen that this Supreme Court can do whatever the fuck it wants to do. And that at that point we're at a constitutional crisis, because when you have a Supreme Court who's just basically saying there are no checks and balances on us, then it comes down to who has the most military might behind them in this situation, which is, then we are in total fucking, uncharted waters with constitutional crisis. We've never seen anything like this. Imagine Democratic Party and the Republican Party rallying military strength behind them to see who's right and wrong, and all of this. Fucking crazy, man. So who knows? But
I know all this because the rich, all this because the rich white guy can't take accountability for anything in his life.
Right. Well, this this is where I was trying to trace where this fucking loyalty to him comes from, because it's not even to party. None of these people are really fucking paying. When he talks now, there is nothing about policy. It's all about him and save me and send me money and all this stuff. And the people are there with him 100%. People who were never that way. They were, policy mattered. And whether it was Second Amendment or abortion or, any immigration, any of the issues, they cared about the issues. Now it's not even about that. It's just about him. Save daddy at all costs. And I don't know where that came from. I was trying to explain it in terms of, The Apprentice. People bought into that as being reality, and definitely the lock her up stuff resonated with a lot of people, because people were sick of Hillary Clinton not being held accountable in very much the same way that Trump was never held accountable his whole life. Susan McDougal went to prison willingly because she did not want to testify against the Clintons. Jim McDougal went to prison for being a co-conspirator on the Watergate. They were criminals, but they were white-collar criminals. And unfortunately, in America, this two-tier system that we're talking about has always existed. It didn't matter Democrat or Republican. It mattered power and money.
Yeah.
And so when he said lock her up, well, he says he never said lock her up, but the tapes prove it. But when he said that, I think it resonated with a lot of people in a way that got them emotionally attached without ever having, the brain, any kind of rationale went out because they had fucking years and years of the Benghazi conditioning. Oh, her emails. all that was a fucking lie. It wasn't really. It wasn't. It wasn't an insurrection. It wasn't any of that kind of stuff. It was just a political lie. They knew what the Libyan, the meaning of the Libyan rebellion at the embassy was, and they knew it was the anniversary of the date, but they just wanted to blame it on a videotape. That's all that was about, her lying and saying it was about a videotape. So the Benghazi stuff was nothing, but Fox beat that drum over and over again all day long and all night long for years upon years that people want, lock her up, lock her up. Nobody even remembers the real crime she did, the Whitewater stuff, the Travelgate stuff, all that kind of, the Rose law firm double billing and triple billing. Those were real crimes, and she got away with that. And so I would like to see her locked up. She never will be. But Trump didn't prosecute her on that. First of all, I think possible statute of limitations, and the other part of it, he was a prime benefactor in those. He was best buddies with the Clintons, and that's not.
But didn't a Republican Congress investigate? Matter of fact, who was the special prosecutor? Ken Starr. Didn't he start? He started off investigating the Clintons, and that's how he wound up at Monica Lewinsky.
Because he started with the Whitewater stuff, but again, their partners. Jim McDougal went to jail and never implicated the Clintons, and then Susan McDougal, who had all the info on, she said, "No, put me in jail. I'm not testifying against Hillary," which kind of suggests that Hillary is like a John Gotti type of guy. She was so afraid of implicating Hillary Clinton that she went to jail for 2 years.
But now Susan McDougal maintained that she wouldn't lie. She would not say what they wanted her to say because it would have been a lie, and that's why she went to jail. That was what her story was.
Yeah.
That was her story. That was why she said she didn't speak, because she was saying that she was being asked to lie, and she wouldn't lie, and so therefore she wouldn't tell the lies that they wanted her to tell. That's how she wound up in jail. But that's why she wouldn't testify. The testimony that they wanted from her was not the right testimony.
Well, the same people said the same thing in Gotti's case, but what do you expect them to say? I'm not testifying because I don't want to get whacked.
No, you just should plead the fifth. You don't have to just plead the fifth if you're.
She wouldn't even do that.
That's what I'm saying. You can just plead the fifth. You don't even have to.
Well, she knew that, Susan McDougal, but she refused to even go in and plead the fifth.
And so,
yeah.
Well, I guess you saw the stories because of his desperation that now if he's elected, he's going to declassify the Jeffrey Epstein files and the 9/11 files.
Well, the 9/11 files, if he promised to, first of all, let's go back to JFK.
Let's go back to Kennedy.
He promised to declassify that. He never did. The Epstein stuff, he's not going to do because he's all over that.
And there's nice pictures and video of him out there too.
I don't think any. Obviously, he had no involvement in the Kennedy stuff. That he was a teenager.
I think he did. That's why he pointed the finger at Cruz's
maybe his father did. It's possible his father did. And the stuff about Ted Cruz's father was just projection because he is the king of projection. If nothing else,
that's why he's got that wide ass, because that's where you project the screen on. You project right onto it.
Yeah. But and 9/11, obviously, the only thing that Trump has liability in that is that he lied to everybody about being there digging out rubble. I mean, we saw him on 9/11 or the day after, where he's basically just bragging about now having the tallest building, but he's doing it from a long way away. He wasn't.
And the other lie he told was that he saw videos of Muslims in Jersey celebrating when the tower came down.
Yeah, that's right.
That's not his lie. It's a lie that was out there that he adopted as his lie. But there were people celebrating.
There were people celebrating. But
think how many people didn't have to go to work the next day. I mean, right there.
No, if you look at John Miller's investigation in late 2001 and into 2002, John Miller was an investigative reporter.
He also wrote Sin City, right? That movie Sin City with Bruce Willis and.
I don't think so. I don't know. I would be surprised if he wrote any movies. He was very good and pretty much non-biased. He basically did an expose of it being the people actually doing the celebrating on the rooftop in Jersey were Israeli spies. Now that's a really unpopular thing to say, but if you look it up, he had all the receipts, all the documentation, and all that stuff. It wasn't Muslims; it was Israeli spy. And the conclusion he came to was that Israel had some yanking of the chain of Bush in this thing to kind of, create the U.S. going to war again in Afghanistan against the Taliban because Israel kind of knew all this stuff and refused to warn the Bush administration and waited there, not only refused to warn, but stayed there and watched to make sure it went down all right. And they were celebrating the fact that this is definitely going to bring the U.S.
But the Bush administration already knew it was coming. They knew
it was coming, but they didn't have the absolute specifics of date, time, place, all that kind of stuff. And
yeah, because they knew, because they've been warned. They knew it was coming because they also
they warned that something was going to be happening and knew vaguely the idea of how it was going to happen, but they didn't know all the specifics. According to Miller's report, and you can look this up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Basically, Israel knew that the time and date that and how they were going to hit the World Trade Center, and their spies were there to make sure it happened. And the celebration was that, yes, this is what we wanted. Now the U.S. is going to be involved in Afghanistan, and so that's what they were celebrating. So it wasn't Muslims at all. But listen, if you're a white guy and you see Middle Easterners celebrating that, you're going to, of course, assume, oh, they must be Muslims celebrating that. You know what? They're Middle Eastern. That's all that matters. They're celebrating, a Middle Eastern attack on the United States. Yeah, they got to be Taliban or whatever. They weren't. They were Israeli spies. That's what. The other thing is the art. You know about the art students on the 36th floor of the World Trade Center.
They painted an escape route and got out.
They were there for a year. According to, it was supposed to be Israeli art students. They were there for a year and never created any art. And they moved out on September 10th, 2001. And, well, they have video of them from a distance and just putting stuff up in the ceilings of the place. But there's never any art to show for, they took over an entire floor, I think, of the South Tower.
But art is subjective, though, too. So you don't.
Yeah, art
they
is
never
subjective.
produced any art. I mean, they didn't even say, "Well, here's the art we produced." They had nothing to show for it. Like,
it got destroyed in the building. How could they show it?
No, during they left the day before they blew up the building. They had
that was the part of the art. It was that was part of the art.
They had nothing to show for the year's work, even though they moved out the day before the buildings were destroyed.
The desk was the art. The chairs was the art. The building, the walls, the lighting fixtures, that was the art.
That's the other thing. There's no chairs or tables or any of that stuff. Just stuff they were putting in the ceiling and the rafters.
And what
the conjecture was that it was part of the controlled demolition. That's what the conjecture was. Now
I always think too is like, well, if you say, oh yeah, we're going to release this stuff, I mean, what's going to happen? You're just going to confirm?
No. I'm not saying post. They never released stuff. So in May of 2001, 6 months before or 4 months before the planes crashed into the towers, they could have been releasing art. They were there for a year. Nobody in that year, nobody released any artwork.
They had NDAs.
NDAs, in art, you don't release your art.
That's what the A stands for. It's a non-disclosure art agreement.
I don't know. I don't think you send a school to do a class to create art and then never show it to anybody. The purpose of art is to show it. It's like, oh yeah, I wrote this comedy thing. I'm not going to ever perform it.
That's right. And those are the best jokes. Those are the best jokes.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, in those reports, because I think even if you release everything is like, I don't think most people would care. Kind of like a few years ago when, like, the UFO information came out and everyone was like, okay, this is stuff we already knew, blah blah blah. The same thing with 9/11. What we're gonna find out that several countries were involved, and maybe our country. Ooh, that's a big surprise.
Google dancing Israelis. I don't know. You probably get like a wedding.
Horror.
I don't. Yeah. Google. Dancing Israelis. You say? Is this going to get me in trouble?
Siri, show me some dancing Israelis.
Anti-Semitic conspiracies about 9/11 endured 20 years later. That's what I get. Yeah. But you know what? So let me get this straight. If it's dancing Israelis, it's a conspiracy theory. If it's dancing Muslims, it's not.
It's a wedding.
It's just, yeah. The Israeli account, it's a whole long document which has no punctuation or separation between paragraphs. It's really hard to read when something's like that. The CIA, Freedom of Information Act, document about the Israeli people dancing on the rooftops, but it's hard to read. I'm not going to share it now. But no, you know what? I'm not saying it's a fact that Israel was involved. I'm just saying that the rumor about the dancing Muslims in northern New Jersey watching this thing going down that Trump repeated was not his lie. It was somebody else's lie that he adopted. And then B, it was Israelis, not necessarily Taliban, which people they were definitely Israeli people dancing on rooftops. Whether they had anything to do with it, that's up to people above my pay grade to figure out.
Wait a minute. Whoa. There are people above your pay grade? I thought you used to be CIA. How did they get people above your pay grade? I don't even
when I was in the CIA, the guys at McDonald's flipping burgers were above my pay grade. And I said when I was in the CIA, I was not in the CIA. I worked.
You were in the CIA. Everybody knows it. I have published your credentials online.
Well, now there was a time when I was driving the van, and I stopped for gas, and this is on the Long Island Expressway. I stopped for gas, and I had this is because this is how long ago it was, cassette tapes in the dash, and I had a Grateful Dead cassette. I was not really that into the Dead. I was not a Deadhead, but it was a bootleg Grateful Dead tape, and I was pumping gas, and a friend of mine who also happened to work for a military industrial complex contractor. We have a lot of them here on Long Island. He worked for Fairchild Republic, which was building weapons and weapon systems for the military. He was there, and he was a big Deadhead. And I said, "Whoa, I got a tape for you." And I went back to the car, and I gave him the tape. And then I filled up with gas, and I'm on the expressway driving to New York to deliver a package at this building where Jeffrey Epstein ended up getting killed. And a black van pulls up along the side of me, and then a black car pulls out right out in front of me and hits the brakes. And I look in my rearview mirror, and there's a black van behind me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I see a guy in the van next to me. So I have to I'm in the left lane now. I have to get over to the right lane, pull over onto the shoulder there, and they get out, and they come out, and they drag me and throw me up against the van, and they were CIA. I guess security clearance. I guess I was under some kind of watch to see what I was doing, and they wanted to know about what I handed that guy back and he got basically, when he got back to the office, he got written at third degree, and they wanted to get the tape and all this stuff. But they were really paranoid that I was sharing information or something. It was a Grateful Dead tape.
So they, I can almost imagine that these people are now listening to the Grateful Dead tapes, one second at a time, going, "There's a message in here somewhere."
Right. I'm
Trucking.
sure
What's
they did.
trucking?
Yeah,
What
they
does trucking
confiscated
mean?
the tape, and then they were looking for it. Like, where's the espionage in here? There's got to be espionage in here. No, it's like
There's a frequency. There's a sub-frequency beneath the subwoofers in this thing. Go ahead.
there's some Grateful Dead stuff in here, but what the fuck is this exactly? We're looking at a screen that Ron pulled up. SF Gate. What is this all about? Do you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
free
is
unlimited.
from this is because the Grateful Dead are doing that residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas. So this is just like one of the pictures that's out there. And there's like video. This is like the inside. The band is right down here.
Wow. You know, if I would have stayed with Cablevision when I was with them, I would be part of that whole Sphere thing. I think that's Jimmy Dolan's project. Jimmy was my boss at Cablevision. We used to call him Jimmy Da. His father was a genius, and he was a retard. Somehow, we went from genius to retard. Chuck Dolan was a genius who founded HBO and created the whole cable television industry, and Jimmy, through nepotism, became the CEO and could not say half a sentence without We're going to make the investments in the and so he got the nickname Jimmy the but he's a billionaire, and that Sphere is his thing. So
That sounds like a mob name, Jimmy Dom.
Well, definitely is. Did you see Did you see Alex Jones over the weekend with his what they were calling a breakdown, and people who hate him were celebrating it as like, look, he's having a full meltdown, and I'm loving it. It was all an act because he was crying or pretending to cry, but there wasn't. His face was completely dry, but doing that, but there were no tears coming out. Did you see any of it, or you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, you gotta
No.
look it up. Come on. It was maybe I can find it. Hold on, Alex Jones breakdown.
No, I was busy not doing anything.
Well, that's basically what I was doing too. Even though I was gigging, I was still not doing anything. But so there were people who bought it. Like I get how you can fall for that, because you really want to see Alex Jones have this kind of meltdown. But it's over. He has to sell his ranch now because of all the lawsuits. And that InfoWars might close down any minute because he does, all of the lawsuits that he's got to pay for. You reap what you sow. It's not like these judgments weren't like
it's hard to root for a guy who's a piece of shit.
I think that's fair. Oh yeah. I'm gonna share this. Present share screen. Let's share screen. Twitter. Alex.
Speaking of
we're gonna beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children.
They hate our children.
Just take more calls. Go ahead and do the next person.
Look, that last scene, I got to stop it if I get there again.
I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children.
Yeah, right there. Look, the one guy's looking away. Just think of these two guys, how uncomfortable that has to be, sitting there watching him do this act. The one guy can't even look at him. Yeah.
Trying not to laugh.
Try not to laugh or just any of it. It's just got to be like, I wish I was dead. I really wish I was dead. I don't want to be in this room right now.
I need the paycheck.
There can't be enough money in the world to make that worth
being forced to sit there through that and not, you know what, you're a scumbag. You deserve having your ranch taken away. No tears.
Yeah, he probably should have went to one of those boot camps where they can make him a man, so he wouldn't have to sit there and cry.
Or he should have gone to like what was the method acting, Lee Strasberg's method acting, to learn how to actually cry when you're acting.
Well, the
really
same
cry.
acting school that those kids went to for Sandy Hook, that acting school, because those kids are.
You know, one of those parents killed himself because of Alex Jones's bullshit comments in there. So
yeah, they should let the parents go through his house, and they could just take stuff from his house.
Yeah.